Hey, what's up guys? Tyler here with Secureteam. So we have a lot to cover today, and I know in my last couple of videos we've been doing a lot of lunar anomaly analysis. And in today's video, not only do I have more that has occurred and been captured above the moon, but we also have some Earth-based UFO footage and overall strangeness. We have a lot to cover, so let's start out with one of the main headlines. NASA crashed one of their space probes into one of two rogue asteroids that were flying side by side. As many of you know, mainstream media streamed this live as the probe inched closer and closer to the 160-meter wide object, which is about the size of one of the Egyptian pyramids, right up until the moment of impact, in turn destroying NASA's probe in the process. But that was the whole point. And that was a really fun stream to watch, and just to see the camera cut out right as the probe was completely obliterated on impact. And so fast forward, NASA slams this probe into the smaller of the two asteroids, Dimorphos, and scientists were fascinated to see, albeit briefly, the different shapes of the two asteroids, the makeup of the surface, and of course the real reason of the DART mission was to see if we could potentially move a space rock a little bit off of its path if it were to be heading straight for Earth. And so today we have some new information and imagery, some of which is headline news and other footage that you may only see on this channel for the first time. That, in my opinion, is definitely mysterious to say the least. So first, let's go with the mainstream headline, which is a view of this 10,000 kilometer long tail that has been left streaming off of the asteroid after the probe impacted. And so we'll cycle through some of these different images here, but in a nutshell, a telescope in Chile captured the remarkable images of this comet-like plume spreading behind the giant rock. The probe was just crashed last week to test whether asteroids that might be a threat to Earth could be nudged out of the way just a little bit. And as of right now, scientists are working to establish whether that test was a success and was the trajectory of the asteroid altered, even just a little bit. These extraordinary images were taken just 2 days after the collision, some 11 million kilometers away from us here on Earth, by a couple of astronomers in Chile who were able to capture this vast trail of many different colors using the Southern Atmospherical Research Telescope, or SOAR. Now, this tail coming off of this asteroid stretches more than 10,000 kilometers, or 6,200 miles through space. This asteroid is pissed, to say the least, and it's definitely showing in space and in these space images. So now to the other news that maybe you didn't hear about in the headlines and that has been making the rounds in the underground research community, wherein which as the DART probe was approaching Dimorphos to impact it, and it's flying past the larger asteroid. As we reviewed and went through the footage, it appears, and you guys can judge for yourselves as I always say, but as this refrigerator-sized probe impacts Dimorphos, there appears to be a shadow or an actual object many are saying could be of an alien nature passing by in view of the probe's camera. So you're seeing that here. This comes straight from the live footage as the craft approached, and in this feed, it shows what appears to be a dark object changing direction several times before finally vanishing, and it happens very quickly. And many are already speculating that this could have been an alien satellite or probe of some sort. Or to be on a more skeptical side, could this have just been random space debris? Well, you guys tell me. I mean, to me, it definitely is an object. That's without a doubt. It's either an object or a shadow of an object, and from the way that the probe is moving and the sun's direction and the way it's casting down onto Dimorphos, if this were a shadow, in my opinion, there's no way it's the shadow of the probe itself, because it seems to be moving in the opposite direction, and there's no mention of a shadow of the probe whatsoever. And then that leads us to the only other option, which is that this is not a shadow at all and is an actual solid object seen passing by erratically and could potentially be an intelligently controlled alien vehicle of some sort that is monitoring this NASA probe as it impacts, just like we've seen in so many other NASA missions. So tell me what you think about this mystery object seen darting past the DART probe.
What the is that, man? This super getting invaded by aliens. What is going on?
This even hit the mainstream news recently, and so according to the report here, school kids were heard screaming as a UFO looming overhead vanished at lightning speed in this hair-raising new footage. The spectacle unfolded as hundreds gathered for a football game at the North Point High School in Wentzville, Missouri. The footage was then quickly uploaded to Facebook, where during this football game, hundreds were alerted to something strange in the sky, where murmurs then began amongst the crowd, and Cora Gregory started filming and captured what happened next. She said, quote, "I came to notice it when I heard a few people saying things like, 'What is that?' and 'Do you see that?' A friend of mine I was with kept telling me it's probably just a laser, and at first I thought maybe it was. But that quickly changed to, oh my god, that's not normal. And I came to the conclusion that it was not a natural object." And so I'll put a link to this down below, but we will analyze the footage here and I'll put some filters over it. The fact that it's a mass sighting and you have all of these different high schoolers watching it, there's got to be other footage of it. And I don't know of any rocket launches that occurred over Missouri recently, and by listening to the clip, you would think that the world was coming to an end, or there was an alien invasion. We're talking War of the Worlds type stuff. And as we zoom in here, whatever this thing is, it indeed suddenly looks to blast off at, near light speed, to where it looks like you're flipping a switch and it just vanishes, but it does appear to blast off to, the left, from the way I see it at least, and we'll slow it down here. And, originally when I first saw it, I thought that could be a reflection on the camera, and as they move the phone, the reflection with it is quickly lost. But the fact that we have hundreds of school kids here going nuts watching this thing, unless this is a massive hoax or a joke, then it's some pretty crazy footage. And here is a still image shot, which is contrast enhanced and color corrected. Anybody near this town in Missouri see this thing or have any more information, please do send me an email. And if you have footage as well, any UFO footage, my contact details are in the video description. Shoot me an email, secureteamnews@gmail.com. If you have footage, upload it to YouTube, set the video to unlisted, and then email me the link to the footage, and I'll download it and be able to contain the high resolution version of it, which email compresses, but put your comments down below. And so lastly today, guys, while we're speaking about NASA space probe missions to other rocks and celestial bodies out in space, I only thought it fitting to show you guys a couple more of the eerie and anomalous NASA mission footage and photography, this time back to the moon, which was the focus of my last couple of videos, and how it relates to these unknown mystery objects seen passing by or lingering in the darkness, whether we're sending a probe to a random asteroid or putting a couple of guys down on the moon's surface. These things seem to be always there, and so I want you guys to check out 2 high-resolution photographs, which in this instance were snapped by the astronauts down on the lunar surface as they were doing their EVAs, walking around, taking soil and rock samples, and likely snapping photographs and taking footage of alien structures that we will never see. And we're gonna go one image at a time. It's 2 photographs from the same exact film reel, each snapped during the Apollo 17 mission. So we had already landed on the moon several times before this, beginning with Apollo 11, and in this sequence via the chest-mounted camera on the astronaut, a pretty typical lunar landscape shot. But as I always tell you guys, the devil is in the details. And when it comes to NASA and Apollo imagery, once corrected and enhanced, we once again reveal more of these unknown visitors lingering above the moon, quietly watching the Apollo 17 astronauts. one of the amazing things that I love about these specific photos here is that it's not just a blue speck of light in the distance that any skeptic could say it's just radiation or scuff that occurred during the development process. These things have what I can only describe as an alien, almost black night satellite kind of outer shape to them, and you can see the sunlight hitting them. You can see part of them in shadow, but you can also make out a lot of details where it looks like there are multiple pieces to whatever type of structure this is and was. These photographs were snapped just 5 or 10 minutes apart on the exact same reel. And in particular, this one here, whatever that is, it has shadow, it has light reflecting off of it, it is three-dimensional, and in my opinion, it is ominous. So with that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. Be sure to follow me on all of my social media, where I always post updates to when a new video is coming and more. And you can find all of those social medias with one single link down in the video description via my Linktree page. So if you're subscribed and you've clicked the notification bell and you're still not getting notified, you can join me over on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, as well as Patreon, and get immediate updates when a new video is out. And big thanks to all of the people supporting the channel on Patreon as well as YouTube memberships. So if you guys enjoyed this, throw the video a like, stay tuned for much more, and I will see you all back here in just a bit. Stay safe, guys.